Hi everybody. So we are live and we're just going to go ahead and wait for a few person to join in this evening. Yes. We are excited. Hi, everybody. So, welcome to this webinar. So, hey, how are you doing? So, I want to know, let me know in the comment section, how are you doing? Whether you're watching this webinar live or whether you are catching up on a replay. So, let me know how you're doing. I'm trying to check at my end to be sure that every other thing is great. So hey, go tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody else that we are live. We are live, and it's going to be an amazing time, right? I'm looking forward to us having an awesome conversation and an awesome discussion this evening. Yes, meanwhile, I am joining in from Nigeria, and this is past 4 p.m. right now in Nigeria. So wherever you're joining in from, I am excited, super excited to have you here today. So let me know how you're doing. I would want to hear from you. Let me know how you're doing. How has your day been? Let me know if you can hear me. And of course, if the sound is clear. So I am going to be your host for today. I'm going to be your host for today, and it's going to be such an amazing time. I honestly look forward to us having a ride, right? I look forward to us having a very wonderful conversation, having a smooth, impactful, and transforming conversation. Now, the goal is that every woman who attends this webinar today do not remain the same. So sorry, you might catch me just looking away from the camera, trying to make sure that everything is in check and we're having a great webinar. So, hey, ladies. So, the goal is that every woman who attends this webinar, whether live or who watches a replay, is impacted, is transformed, is empowered with the right knowledge that would help them begin to express all of their potentials, begin to express all of their giftings, begin to, attain success while having an amazing life. And when I talk about success, a lot of times people think that success is just for the top. When you're building a career or you're building a business, that's what a lot of people think that success is. But for me, success is holistic, success is all round. And that is why we are having this webinar today so that we can learn how we can attain balance and be successful at all fronts. So, welcome to Get It Right or Go Home series. Yes, this is going to be a series all through the month of September 2023. We are going to be having the Get It Right or Go Home series. We launched the Get It Right sometime around February this year, if I am not mistaken. Yes, sometime around February this year. And it's been amazing. And that was the point where we launched a community for women, where women can be part of, where women can come to learn, and where women can come to be empowered with the right knowledge to help them build a great relationship. So, Get It Right or Go Home is going to be happening in series all through the month of September. We're going to be having all of our teachings as a webinar every Friday in September. So, hey, go tick your calendars, and we're going to be exploring amazing topics. We're going to be exploring amazing topics. Like, it's going to be mind blowing. Trust me, it's going to be mind blowing. So, welcome once again. And we're going to go ahead to begin. So, if your friend or anyone is here to join this webinar, go tell them that, hey, they need to head here right now. Share the link with them, and let's see them join us this evening. Okay. So, quickly, let's get started. Okay. Let's get started. We have for today. Let's get started. So, the promise, I always like to start with a promise. I like to start with a promise. I like to tell you what you should expect. I like you to know what you're expecting. I like you to know what you are here for. I don't like to just leave people. I like to be clear. So I would usually start with a promise. If you've attended any of my webinars, then you would know that I love to start with a promise. And I am going to also be starting with a promise today. So what is the promise? The promise is to show you 7 key ways you can be successful as a woman at all fronts and areas of your life. So the goal is to show you 7 key ways that you can be successful as a woman at all fronts, having every, when I talk about all fronts, I'm talking about both marriage, I'm talking about family, I'm talking about relationship. When I talk about relationship, I don't just mean relationship with your spouse or with your family or with your children. When I talk about relationships, I'm talking about relationships all round. Relationships with people, relationship with your colleagues at work, relationship with your business partners, relationship with every of those people. So when we talk about relationship, don't just have a fixed mindset that it's about you and your partner. Okay, so we're going to be looking at every aspect. How can you attain success? How can you be successful at all fronts? How can you be successful in your finance? How can you be successful in your career? How can you be successful in your business? How can you be successful in the home? How can you be successful in your marriage? So we are looking at success at all fronts. Okay. So what I'm going to be showing you is 7 key ways that you would be able to attain success. Okay. So hey, get your seatbelt fastened. It's going to be an amazing ride and it's going to be a long one. Okay. So let's quickly continue. So yes, and just before I forget something, when I say attaining balance as a woman, you're going to go ahead and tell me succeeding at all fronts, right? So that's going to be a mantra for this webinar. When I say attaining balance as a woman, you're going to go ahead and tell me succeeding at all fronts, as that is the goal for us to be able to succeed at all fronts. Okay. So let's dig deep. So who is this webinar for? You might be asking. So who is this webinar for? Am I supposed to be here? Maybe you're watching a replay and you're wondering, should I be here? Should I just hold on? Should I watch this video to the end? Let's quickly see who this webinar is for. Okay. So this webinar is for every single lady. It's for women who have a strong desire to live a successful life, women who want to be successful at all fronts, women who do not want to sacrifice any area or any aspect of their life while getting to the top. So it's for women with a strong desire to be at the top while succeeding at all fronts. They want to be at the top. They want to attain success, but they want to do that holistically. They don't want to do that just one-sided. Okay, so this webinar is for single ladies, it's for married women, it's for career women, it's for business women, it's for women that are engaged, getting to be married. Hey, all my Ember brides. Okay, it's for women that are divorced or separated. So this webinar is for every woman with a strong desire to be at the top while succeeding at all fronts. All right, drum rolls. Okay, so meet your coach for this webinar. So meet your host for this webinar. So my name is Jennifer Chinayenwa Emma-Obadi. You know, a lot of times people ask me, like, Jennifer, why do you like your full name? I say, don't remove anyone for me. All my names are very important to me. Like, I love them. I love the fact that my middle name is there to always represent my Igbo origin. I love the fact that my English name is there for those who cannot pronounce the Igbo name, the native name. I love the fact that my husband's name is there to also represent. Oh, in fact, the point where I added his name, thank God we're talking about balance. At the beginning, when I had gotten married, I was still bearing my name. You understand? No, you know, normally and usually people just want to just answer a part of the name, maybe the surname of the man. But no, for me, I had to merge the two. There is a point a person will become so relevant in your life that you embrace their identity with your full chest, and that was what I did. So I love my name long. I like it like that. A lot of people say, don't you want a short name? You're a global figure, you should be looking at having a short name. I don't want. I like my name like that. So my name is Jennifer Chinenwa Emma-Obadi. I am Africa's #1 women development consultant and expert, and I am God's choicest servant to bring women into their calling. This is my assignment. This is what I live for. This is what gets me excited. This is what gets me happy. And oh my goodness, I I'm going to be sharing a bit of my journey with us in the course of Get It Right or Go Home series. When I had started my career with women development, when I began to leave my assignment, I had people tell me a lot of things. So usually back then, when I want to introduce myself, and people like, "Hey, let me get to meet you," I'll be like, "Okay, I'm Jennifer," and I wouldn't want to say that. I felt like, how do you say you're women development expert? Like, that's weird. Who wants to hear that? So I would usually introduce myself as Jennifer, introduce my other businesses that I do, and that was it. But it got to a point where I became so proud. And another reason and another problem was because people would always associate women development consultants, experts as, the community right now has the wrong definition of feminism. So I do not like to call myself a feminist because the name has been bastardized, the name has been abused. So I just like to stay on my lane. So I would always find it difficult to say, "Hey, I'm a women development expert." Like, what I do and all I do is to help women live the best of their lives. So I'd rather go this and that. I do this business, XYZ business. And it got to a point where I had to ask myself, I'm like, okay, so what is wrong with your identity? This is something that you're passionate about. This is something that is your assignment, you're certain and you're sure. So for how long are you going to continue like this? And that was a point where I embrace it. Like, I embrace it with my full chest. So when you ask me, it's like, "Hey, I'm Jennifer. When you want to talk about women development, just call me, just call me, just call me." Yes, so I am Africa's #1 women development consultant and expert, and I am God's choices servant to bring women into their calling. I am a girls and women coach and mentor, a published author, transformational speaker. I don't just speak. I don't like to call myself a motivational speaker, right? I speak to transform. I speak to let you know practical ways that you can be able to implement what I say to improve your life, to transform your life, to get change. Whenever I speak to people, the goal is not just to come before the camera or come before the audience and have some applause like, "Hey, hey." No, the goal is that by the time we are done, they've been able to move from point A to point B. They've been able to move from the point of confusion and all of those to a point of clarity, right? So yes, call me a transformational speaker. That is who I am. Multiple award winner. I am the founder of the Extraordinary Woman Academy. Yes, founder of Top Notch Creative Services. That's actually the name of my business brand. And I am a kingdom addict. I love to say this. I'm passionate about the gospel. I'm passionate about Christ. I'm never ashamed to say that I'm addicted to Jesus. Call it anything, that is fine. Kingdom addict, and I co-pastor with my husband at Dynasty of Glory International Church. I'm a mother of 2 adorable sons and many children. I have a lot. Like, I'm a mother of nations, right? And then I am a queen married to her heaven ordained king. I always love to put it like that every other time. Okay. So quickly, let's dig deep. Fasten your seatbelt. Let's take this ride together. It's going to be a transformational ride. It's going to be an amazing ride. And of course, I look forward to your testimonials. Don't forget to give me your testimonials by the time you are done with this webinar, whether you attended live or whether you watched it as a replay, right? So fasten your seatbelt and let's take this ride together. Yes. So the number one thing we are going to be looking at is understanding of seasons. You always need to understand seasons. Okay. So understanding of seasons. Understanding the seasons and generation we are in is very important. So I get a lot of times, and I get women who try to say, "Oh, but my mom didn't do this. My mom was a housewife. My mom was always caring for the kids. She was there for us. She never had to work." I hear this a lot of times, and I'm like, really? You need to get to the point where you understand that a lot of things have changed, right? This is not your mother's era and generation. In this time, you need to understand that what worked for your mothers will no longer be applicable 100% to you. what your mothers used to do. So let's even take, for example, the economy. Let's look at the economy. So go back some years back when your mothers existed. And when I talk about economy, I'm not talking about just Africa. I'm talking about globally, whatever, wherever you're watching from, whatever country you are watching from. When we're talking about economy, it's globally, because you would understand that things are normal how it used to be. The economy is normal how it used to be. So currently in our generation and in our time, the people who call Paul could actually pass as the people that were average some decades back. Do you understand? So you need to understand that what worked for your mothers will no longer work for you. 100%. Some of the things might work, but all of them will no longer work. And this is something you need to settle in your mind. Like, this is something you need to get straight. So you need to understand the times that you're in. You need to understand the seasons that you're in. So what works for your mothers will no longer work for you 100%. You need to understand each phase and season of your life. I'm going to take my time to explain this because the goal is that you find the answers that you seek. Now, let's take this journey together. So when I talk about phases and seasons, it's very important because it's one thing that is going to help you prioritize, right? It's going to help you prioritize what season and what phase you are in. If you look at a woman who has toddlers as kids, her children are still toddlers. She's in a different phase. She's in a different season from women who their kids are teenagers. These are two different ball games. Now, the priority of a woman with toddlers as kids, it's not going to be the same priority for a woman with teenagers as kids. They are not on the same phase. They are not in the same season. The programs they are going to be designing for their kids are totally different. The conversations they are going to be having are totally different. The time that is required for investing in the kids are totally different. Now, at the age where your kids are teenagers, of course, we are in a generation that is fast paced currently. And so you're going to realize that a lot of people, most times, would have their kids in the boarding school or maybe in the university. They are somewhere around 16, even 15. We have kids of teenagers, sorry, of this age who at 15 are already in the university. So now you're going to realize that the mom of teenagers is going to be having more time than the mom of toddlers. Why? Because her kids are grown. Why? Because there are a lot of things that her kids can afford to handle at this point and phase without her involvement. And why? Because she has spent the best of her time involving herself in the raising of her children. So you're going to realize that these are two different seasons and these are two different phases. So the moment you now want to compare or you do not have an understanding of your season and your phase and you want to follow or run after the woman who had kids are toddlers, you're going to be missing out on a whole lot of things. Now, personally, one of the things that I do is that once my kids are on holidays, when I talk about holidays, I'm talking about the summer holiday, I would most times usually try to shut down on a whole lot, right? Because I'm going to try to invest that time in being with them, designing programs that we're going to go through, trying to teach them, and all of those. But if once the school is in session, it's fine. I can be able when they go to school, everything. Now, I remember I said most, not all. There are still things that I would devote my time doing. But at that moment, I'm going to spend the better part of my time. And now this is me, right? We need to understand that this might not work for everybody. Maybe you have a 9 to 5, maybe you have an 8 to 6, whatever it is. So what this model might not work for you. Why? Because you have to wake up every morning and you have to go out to go and work and earn. Now, but you have to remember that you are in a season and a phase, and You cannot afford to sacrifice the time you're to make for your kids at the detriment of building a career, at the detriment of earning a finance. Now, what do? You must now begin to ask yourself very important questions. What is going to work for me? And hey, I need to tell you this, right? You need to know that you will not always have these kids with you. And the best time to invest and raise, I see a lot of parents whom their kids are now teenagers, trying to raise, trying to train. Oh my goodness, that's a whole lot of work. It would have been very much easier for you to do that work when they were still very much tender and little. Now, at that point, what are you doing? You're nurturing, you're allowing them to grow with the values that you're imbibing in them, you're allowing them to grow with all of those. Now, it would have been a lot easier, right? But if you get to a point where you now want to, you now want to start, how do I put it now? Start restructuring. It's just like when a tree has grown, and after the tree has grown, you are now trying to bend the tree. That is what I see a lot of parents do a lot of times. Do you understand? So it is very important that you understand your times, your seasons, and the different phases. What phase are you at the moment? You must always, always, always ask yourself this question: what phase am I? Where am I at this moment? What am I supposed to be doing at this moment? How am I supposed to be designing my life at this moment? How am I supposed to be, planning myself at this moment? So understanding of times, understanding of seasons, understanding of phases, it's a lot, it's a whole lot. You must also understand this. Why? Because seasons are important. Now, you cannot say you're also going to get to a point where you decide not to do any other thing, you decide not to work, you decide not to get involved in any of those other things just because you want to raise your kids. Now, you will now realize that you would still not feel fulfilled. You still get to a point where you would not be happy with yourself. Now, while this might work for everybody, it would not work for everybody. Why this might work for some people, rather, it's not going to work for everybody. There are some persons who will not be able to do that. While there are some persons that, of course, they might have the leading, they might be able to make up the decision to say, okay, I want to pause and I want to raise my kids, and after that, I can go back to whatever I'm doing. But the priority, the most important thing is that you understand the phase and the season that you're in, and then go ahead to plan yourself. Go ahead to plan yourself in line with that. Okay, so let's move ahead. So the next thing is have a clear definition of what you want. What do you want? You need to have a very clear definition of what you want. Clarity is important. What kind of life do you want for yourself? Now, when you answer this question, you can now decide on how to begin your journey. You can now decide, okay, so let's say, for example, there's a woman who wants to be in her house building a successful business, maybe an importation business, where she totally runs it online and doesn't have to get a physical office. So what this means is that she gets to be with her kids most of the time, even though it's not always it's like that, because there are times you would want to be alone, maybe be in your home office, just do some stuff. But at least that even avails her the opportunity to be around the home and to always be able to say, hey, stop, you do that. You understand? Now, you must clearly define what you want. Where are you headed? When you're talking about the top, what's the top for you? What's success for you? These are important definitions that you must always have. So when you are clear about what you want, you can now be able to know what you can go ahead to do. So you cannot be able to say, okay, so now I know that I want to build a successful career in the banking sector. Mm? I want to build a successful business that has branches all over the globe. I want to build a successful online brand that can be able to serve people from everywhere. So clarity is key. Clarity is key. Now, when you know what you want, you now realize that what is going to work for the person who is trying to build a successful career in the banking sector is not the same thing that is going to work for the person who is trying to build a successful brand online that is going to be serving people globally. It's not the same thing that is going to work for the person who is trying to build businesses all over the world, all over the globe, all over the country, whatever that means. Now, for the person who wants to build a successful brand online, she's going to find herself being readily or more available. because she's going to most times be working from the home, right? Now, for the person who wants to build a strong and successful career in the banking sector, she's going to have to be on a 9 to 5, 8 to 5, 8 to 6, whatever that is. In fact, sometimes I know they do 7 to 6, 7 to 7. That's about 12 hours. So you need to understand this and have this clarity. So when you want to build, what do you want? Where are you headed? What is the top for you? What is the definition of success for you? When you understand it, you can now be able to begin to design your own life. See, I need you to know one thing. On this journey, your journey is different, your story is different, what you want is different. That is why you must be clear about what you want. Now, here's what most women do. We'll talk about success, we'll talk about heading to the top. They don't know what they want. And so what do? They begin to jump on other people's life. They begin to copy what works for other people verbatim in their own life, right? They don't get to a point where they have a separation technique where they say, oh, this is not going to work for me, that is not going to work for me, this is not that. They just copy everything. Now, if you want to build a successful career in the banking sector and you want to copy everything that Jennifer does, it's not going to work for you, because Jennifer does not run that kind of schedule. I don't have any reason to leave my house as early as 7 a.m. every day and come back as late as 6 p.m., right? Now, Jennifer's schedule might be that I get to leave my house sometime around 1 p.m., 2 p.m., maybe get back around 7 p.m., 11 p.m. You just need to understand that it's what works for me. It's not going to work for you. So what do? You now begin to design your life in accordance with what you want. So define what you want. Don't just be everywhere. Don't tell me I want to be a successful businesswoman. What type of business? Clarity. You need to spell out in clarity. You need to spell out everything X, Y, Z. You need to spell it like this is A, this is B. Every letters has to be clear. And don't give me that look and say, hey, Jennifer, I've been trying to get a hold of this clarity of a thing. Now, I need you to understand that clarity is not an event, it's a journey. That's what a lot of people do not know. That's what a lot of coaches would not tell you. Now, you're going to realize that as you begin to move up on the ladder, as you begin to move forward, understand that with time, things will begin to change. You would be able to understand a lot of things better. You would be able to piece one or two together. So clarity is not an event, it's a journey. So don't get to that point where you begin to beat yourself up. Oh, I've not. The most important thing at this point, what do I want? So I'm young, I'm 25, I'm a mom of two, I'm a mom of three, I'm a mom of four, I'm 18, I'm 19, I'm 30, 35. And considering my age, this is where I want to be by so age, this is what I want to do. At this point, at this phase, this is what I want for myself. That's clarity. I want to build a successful clothing business rather. And I will now begin to ask myself how. I can be able to build this online. I can be able to build it offline. I can be able to, you now begin to carefully break down your life and break down the things that you will need. And now see how to factor every other aspect of your life together so that you're not having any aspect suffering, right? I want to build a business where I have to be traveling all over the world. Maybe you want to build a global speaking business where you're traveling all over the world and you're speaking to people. I will not begin to plan my life. What that means is that I will need to maximize every time that I have, any little moment that I have, I will need to seize it. I will see. We are going to be learning a whole lot, but you see, this topic about clarity is very important. What do you want? What kind of a wife do you want to be? What kind of a mom do you want to be? What kind of a single lady do you want to be? What kind of a lady who is separated? Do you want to remarry? Would you want to remain single after going through a rough marriage and now you're separated or divorced? Whatever that is, whatever that means to you, clarity is important. What do I want? I'm clear. I'm very clear, crystal clear about what I want for myself at this phase of my life. I want to be a part of the life of my children every area. Like, there is no part that is missing. So if I need to cut down on some things, I'm going to cut down. If I need to get helping hands, I'm going to get helping hands. If I'm going to be sharing with you a lot, right? A lot of the things that I do. So you need to be clear. Now, what you are clear about will not tell you what your action plans should be. Okay, so let's run. So the next is have systems and structures. I love to talk a lot about systems in the home. I love it because it is one thing that God has helped me. He has helped me to have results with. When you have systems in place, I was having a conversation while I was preparing for today's webinar. I was with my kids in the house and I was just looking at them and I was hearing where I was like, these kids are not kidding me right now. I could hear mommy, so after eating, what next? I'm like, okay, they are getting it. Mommy, so after eating, what next? I'm like, awesome, that's nice. Mommy, so, and I could see them using their hands to now program their day. Now, it doesn't mean that most times they are going to follow that schedule back to back. There are sometimes they don't get to follow it. I'm one of the people that will tell you so that you don't get to beat yourself up or you get frustrated on this journey. Remember, this is it's a journey, it's not an event. It's not something that happens once, right? So I could hear them say, okay, mommy, we've eaten. So what is the next thing we're going to be doing? And I said, okay, so after eating, you're going to maybe play, or you're going to have your bath, or you're going to shower, or you're going to do this, or you're going to do that. And I could hear them state it. Okay, so after this, and I was surprised when my first son had run his schedule for the day down to when he's going to sleep. So he said, so after this, I'm going to go and do this, I'm going to do that. We're going to go downstairs in the evening. We're going to play football. We're going to come upstairs. We're going to shower, and we're going to have our dinner, and we're going to go to bed. I'm like, awesome. So systems and structures, the same way you're going to build systems and structures around your business, down to having a call script. How should this happen? I'm one person. As I'm teaching you, I'm telling you to have a checklist. I'm telling you, create a checklist for what you're going to be doing. So this and this and this is the procedure. Now, do you know what that does for me? That helps me to keep you accountable. That helps us measure results. That helps us measure what is expected. So when I come in and you're not doing what I asked you to do, I ask you, okay, what are you supposed to do? Okay, so can we run through the checklist? So was this done? Was that done? Was that done? Are you seeing that? But if we do not have those systems in place, now you might get to a point where you're beginning to see me and like, this woman is very wicked. This one doesn't like me. This one, that one. Systems and structure is very important. It's key. System and structure is key. Like, it's key in everything that you want to do. And the home is not exempted. Your life is not exempted. I just shared with you how once it's summer holiday, I would usually shut down on a lot of things just to make sure that I get to spend enough time with my children, because at that point they are not going to school. They are going to be at home. And yes, I don't like to send my kids to school during summer. No, not me. I would rather prefer to send them for some coaching on life skill, for some. I would rather prefer to send them for something else. Go learn a skill, learn how to play the keyboard, learn how to drum. What do I see you have interest and passion in? I'm not called out to sending you back to the school. No, 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 no way. And most times I would rather prefer something that is going to happen within the home. But if it is unable to happen within their home, then it has to be something we have to give, say, 2 days or say 3 days, 1 hour or 2 hours to. Right now, you now begin to structure your life. So you already know that during summer, it's a very busy schedule with the family. You spend a lot of time with family, you spend a lot of time with kids. You're trying to see how to reduce engagement. It's not like you're not going to have engagement, but the goal is to reduce the engagement, right? Now, during the school period, when they are going to school, you're trying to see how to maximize the mornings and maximize the evenings, right? So you now begin to create systems. Now, what happens? I'm not going to be available. Maybe I'm going to be coming back around 7 p.m. in the night. They might be tired. They might have gone to bed. What happens at the point where I am not around? Now, look at what a lot of parents do. They teach their domestic staffs and assistants and neglect the kids. So they run their domestic staff through the program. Now, this is the point. This is the problem, right? So when they run the domestic staff through the program, or their sibling that is staying with them, that is lending a helping hand, or whoever that is, when they run the person through the program, they neglect to run their kids through the same program. Now, what that happens is that nobody is accountable to anybody. So in your absence, if the domestic staff happens to forget, it is what it is, right? But when you run the kids through the same program, so all of us are up to pace. So I know that you should be teaching me this we should be doing this at this time, and this party knows that this is what you should be doing at this time. So it makes it easier. So it even makes what is it called? It makes submission on the part of the children easy. So they know that this is not some rule that the domestic assistant is placing. This is what works in the home. This is the system. There is something I'll always tell my kids when they do something. I'll tell them it won't work here. Do you know why I say that? They might see it anywhere else. I don't care where it worked, because they need to hear it won't work here. I'm not saying it doesn't work other places. It can. It's okay for some families to decide to practice that. But right in this place, it won't work here. In particular, here. So if you go to school and you see other kids doing that and you decide to pick that habit and come back, it's okay. That kid can be doing it. Their parents can allow it, but it will not work here. Do you understand? Now, these are systems. In creating systems and structures, you must also be careful about your choice of words, about your programming, your language programming. What kind of language are you programming the kids? I see. Now, let me share this with us. Now, a lot of times when I speak with parents, they think that it's hard. When I tell them you can actually get to a point where you're not speaking negative into the life of your children, they feel like it's not possible because they've been used to it. When we say it was how they raised us, you get a point, and that was why I started with understanding times and seasons. What worked for your mother is not going to work for you 100%. It's not going to work. And now you even realize that if a part of the struggle you're having is as a result of the words that they've spoken into your life. Yes, you can say that again. Part of the struggles you are having is as a result of some of the words that they've spoken into your life. Now, as parents, our words matter a lot. What we say over our children holds a lot of. I've gotten to a point where I don't like to stress it. There are some parents that they are on a lane all by themselves. I don't bother them. I don't, because their problem is, first of all, the mind. They've built so much restrictions around their mind that it's going to take a lot. So just day your day. Now, you are going to also understand that your kids are going to be mixing up with other kids in school, kids from such parents that has built a wall of restriction. Kids from the parents where it's okay to be watching all of the Hollywood music, where they are half naked, where nudity is promoted, where they are twerking up and down, where they are rocking a guy, and they are going to be mixing up with these children. Now, when you are focused on programming the assistant, programming your co-parent, I love to it's very important that you learn to celebrate your co-parents, because it's a whole lot of work. Now you realize that some of the things that they do, you cannot do. You don't have the time. You don't have the luxury. You don't have the luxury to be able to do that at this point. So I don't like to call them domestic staff. I don't, in Igbo language, they say "Wamoneyano." I don't say that. There are a lot of languages they say the maid. I don't call maid. Nobody is a maid, right? So you now begin to understand that it's important that as you're running your co-parents through the programs, through the structures, through the systems that is in the home, you're also running your children through that. It makes submission on the part of your children easier, and it makes accountability on the part of your co-parents easier. So even your children can hold them accountable. You get the point? That is structure, that system. It functions without you. You can decide to travel anywhere, but you're not leaving them clueless. What a lot of parents do is that they leave their children like that. They wake up in the morning and they leave them guessing what next. And you come back and say, oh, this child is not doing this. Oh, this child. I'm like, really? Well, how do you expect that? What exactly are you expecting them to do? You don't design. You don't help them program. You don't help them design. You just leave them. They wake up in the morning guessing whatever comes to their mind. And that is where you begin to see a lot of children try to preoccupy their mind with a lot of things. That is in most cases where you see even sexual abuse, molestation in the home begins to happen. Because why? Even the person that is in the house does not know what they should be doing. You're leaving the person to guess what should be happening in your home. Do you understand? So structures and systems. What is the system that works? what happens? We cook on certain days. We cook on XYZ. It's okay. Oh, I'm not saying you have to follow my pattern. I'm not saying that if you want to, maybe at the time that your family likes fresh meat, I celebrate grace. I honestly celebrate you. I do. And you're at the point where you can't even afford a chef. I celebrate you more. You have to be the one doing everything. I celebrate you big time, sis. That is why you are right on this webinar. Now, you now have to say, oh, this happens on certain days. This is what should happen at this time. Help them have it written. They should not just guess. They shouldn't leave it in their head. It's carefully mapped out. It's carefully written out. You don't just write it. I'm trying to see how I can explain these things so that we understand it. Now, you don't just write it and paste it and leave it. No, you run them through it. You take your time to explain. You take your time to let them know this is what is going to happen. This is what I remember at the point, sometime in 2023, when my schedule changed, I had to call my family for a meeting. I'm not talking about my spouse. No, I'm talking about my kids, talking about everybody. And I had to say, hey guys, look, schedule is about to change and I'm going to be having some engagements, right? Now look at what is called system. Building a system of accountability. Now, look at what some other parents would have done. They will just wake up, begin to do. Their children will be, Mommy, where are you going? What's happening? When you're not, and tomorrow you're expecting that they communicate with you. Like how? And can I say this? Can I say this to parents? You know, a lot of times, by the time the kids begin to grow, we begin to complain. There are children that don't call their parents. They don't speak with their parents. They are, and they don't feel anything. And now most times what such parents do, in some cases, they begin to blame the spouse. Like you're not telling your husband, you're not telling your wife. I'm like, how? You are only reaping what you have sown. In the long run, you have built a no accountability system. You will wake up and do anything and put head anywhere and come back and feel like the boss. Forgetting that times and season, you see that? You see times and season is coming up again. Forgetting that times and season is going to change. And when it changes, it will get to their turn. At that point, it will be more like you are now at their mercy, right? And they would also go out. They would do anything. They'll put head anywhere and they will not call you. But when you have built a system of accountability, you have to leave. You need to explain to your kids, for goodness sake. They are not robots. They are human beings. And remember what I said, that the point where they are still small is when you are nurturing. A lot of times we don't nurture. And thank God I'm speaking to women, right? Women, we are more we have more the responsibility to nurture, because you find out that most times, even from the womb, we create the environment that these children are going to be breastfed, that they are going to be raised. So we have that responsibility to nurture. So you now realize that you are not nurturing, you're just leaving them. So you must learn to have systems. Look at your home. As I'm speaking to you right now, I need you to get back. Look at your home. If you're not married, it's okay. Look at your life. Some of you, you're single. You do anything. You do anyhow. You're not investing in yourself. You're not taking any course. You're expecting for one magic from somewhere to come and fall on top of your head. You're a joker. Like you're joking. You know when they say in Nigeria, just they play. Just they play. Now, you will need to go back and sit down and look at your life. Remember, don't go and copy system. Copy principles. Don't come and tell me to give you. I'm going to be working on a guide for moms, right? To help them structure their homes. It's going to be principles. I'm not going to photocopy my structure and system, because my structure and system might not work in their home. Like I said, I don't have their schedule. Maybe they're on a 9 to 5. That's not my schedule. I can actually, I have more controls over my mornings. I can also decide to have control. Like, I'm more flexible, right? I have a more flexible schedule as a mom. So I can actually decide what to do, how to dance around it. You understand the point? And now this also makes you to understand that as an intentional woman who is heading for the top, who wants to be successful at all fronts, I need you to understand that not everything is for you. Not every opportunity is for you. It's not every job you should take. It's not every business you should jump into. It's not every... See, you need to understand who you are, clarity, and now set systems. Now, what happens? That every other thing in your life aligns with the systems and structures that you set. So things are not coming to determine what happens. No, the system and structure that has been set is what determines what should happen. Somebody should write that down. The systems and structures that you set. You know, I know there are some persons that are on this call right now, like, on a to do, it's too much. Just leave this thing, your child that we grow, we grow. When you see a child that is raised intentionally, it's not the same. The results are not the same. The results can never be the same. Now, the results, even at old age, is not the same. It will not be the same. When you are a parent that is available, making time for your kids, do you think they're going to forget that? When they get to school, they're going to hear their fellow kids talk about how their mom or their dad is not always around, how they don't get to see them. It begins to create in them. Now, it might not happen immediately, especially when they're still toddlers, but it's going to happen. It's going to begin to make a lot of sense when they begin to grow. By the time they now become a parent like you, come on, that is when they will appreciate what you did. Now, are you seeing the system? So you are even programming even how their own life should run, even when you're not there. So by the time they have grown, become an adult, they can now appreciate you more. Now, do you see why some people don't appreciate their parents? Because when they look back, really, there's nothing. You didn't build any relationship. You didn't. Oh my goodness. Relationship is not just by, hey, how are you? Hey, no. Yesterday, I was teaching my kids conflict resolution rather, and I'm sure someone who would have seen me. And meanwhile, when I talk about my kids, my first son just turned 5 in June. My second son will be 3 in this month, September. So are you seeing? So somebody's going to say, "Oh, more, are you kidding me? Like, are you serious? You're teaching them conflict resolution." Now, look at what I do. I look out for opportunities. I like to teach them practical. I like to give practical teachings that will help them in life. So while I'm with them, I'm observing things happen. Let's say they get to a point where they're quarreling a lot, fighting a lot. And that was what happened yesterday. And I could hear one saying, "You're not my friend again. You're not my brother again." Now, my parents will look at that and overlook it. Sibling rivalry. It begins from that age. Now, I looked, and while I was working, I was just observing them, and I said, okay, we've got a topic to teach, and I don't do a one-time teaching. I reiterate. I go over it again. After a while, I bring it until it sinks. Remember, we are on a journey, not an event. Now, by the time they continued quarreling, I said, "Okay, guys, it's fine. Is it fine we talk?" They're like, "Okay, mommy." So this one comes to complain. Now, I had to first of all break down conflict resolution to their level. So what is a conflict resolution method? You pause. You try to control your emotion. You breathe, right? Now you negotiate. You try to speak to the person. If the person refuses, you report. Very simple. Not complicated. They're still kids. They can't be able to take all of the elaborate stuff. So very simple, no complication. By the time we were done, and I had to ask them, "Okay, so go over it again. What are the conflict resolution methods? What's the system for conflict resolution?" You pause. You try to control your emotion. You breathe. How do you control your emotion? I'll ask to say, you breathe. You calm down. And then they'll go ahead. And then they said, what's the next one now? What's the next one? Yes, you try to negotiate, you speak to the person, and when they refuse, you report to a trusted adult. I always add that word trusted adult, because it's not everyone your children should report to. And now, of course, by now, if you're a parent and you're on this webinar, you should have a list of trusted adults for your children. You should have given them that. They should know who the trusted adults are. Over time, they should be able to make a list. I will always ask, "So who are the trusted adults?" They'll tell me, "Sister this person, brother that person, mommy, daddy," and I'm like, "Great, grandma, good." You know who trusted adults are. So you don't go about reporting to everybody. You don't go about sharing. You don't go about taking everybody's counsel. In this generation, it's not. So by the time it was today, I was preparing for the webinar, and they had started to, quarrel again, and I could hear them. And the next thing, they continued, and I noticed that they boycotted one of our methods, which was negotiation. And then one of them walked up to me and said, "Mommy, this was." I said, "I'm not going to be involved. Have you tried to resolve your issue by yourself? Please go and resolve it." I was sitting back and I was watching the resolution method that they're going to use. So I sat back and I relaxed. I was watching. Now, why am I watching? Because I want to also be sure that the issue was properly resolved. And now, if it's not properly resolved, I can now, at that point, show them the importance of reporting. Because now it's beyond you. So you are now going, but you can't come to me when you've not tried to negotiate. You can't try to negotiate. You can't try to sort your issues. I don't want to raise children that are going to be forever dependent on me. They want to then they come, mommy, should I do this? I don't have that time. If I personally, as a person, I like to work with people who need little or no supervision. Everybody's busy. So, all right, come off it. So while I watched them, they went back and I could see them trying to talk. I was like, ah, yeah, it's working. System. So now I did not look at what system, look at what system is. What another parent would have done was to resolve the issue at that time. You've not created a system. A system is something that is sequential, is something that stays, is a laid down principles, a laid down rule. So what that means is that if you are not there, what should happen? They might not remember. You've not systemized it. But now when you make a system out of that simple solution, what happens? They would be able to now learn, inculcate it, that even in your absence, they can be able to replicate it. Remember again, it's a journey. It's not an event. So it's not like when it doesn't happen once, like, hey, it did not happen. No, you continue to teach the system, you teach the structure again, you come back, you reteach it until they have it's now in their bloodstream. That's the word. Until it's now in their bloodstream, right? So while I watched them today, I could see them talk. I was happy. And then after they talked, I could see one reach out to hug because, yes, that was one of the signs of peace. And one of the signs that we've resolved that I had to teach. So did we hug? So there's a byproduct that shows that we are good. Good, yes, good. So I could see them hug. I was like, yeah. In fact, one person reached out to hug, the other person was still doing like, I was just watching, I just looked, and then the other person now reached out to hug. I'm like, simple. I didn't have to come. I'm busy doing something. I didn't have to be involved and say, okay, so tell me what happened. System. Now, system is not broken. It is in chain, is in series. So you can't jump 1 to 3. You can't jump 3 to 10. You have to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And that is it. So now let me say this. A lot of times I hear people tell me, like, Jennifer, these things you do is too hard. I can't do it. I'm like, you're complicating your life because without system and structure, that's where the work is. You have to keep shouting, you have to keep talking, you have to keep going over. But when you take the pain of building it once, it runs. So we will always have a reference. So when there's a quarrel, I ask, what are we going to do? Now, I have run the conflict resolution process with them. I am going to also run that with my co-parents. Remember, for you might call it your domestic assistant. I'm going to run through so that my co-parent is also learning that you don't bypass the systems of resolution. So when they come to you, find out what has been done. What has been done? Have you done this? Have you tried to negotiate? If you've not, get back and try that. Systems. So I'm not leaving any party afloat. I'm carrying everyone along. I run the program with you. And everyone is on the same pace, rather. So systems and structures are very, very important. You can't build a successful home without systems. You can't even build a successful life without systems. You should be able to have systems in your life. What do I do at this place? What is important at this season? How am I supposed to carry out my day? And that is where you begin to talk about routines. What successful routines? What successful habits am I building? What do I need to start working on? System. Systemize everything. Learn to systemize everything. The chores, systemize them. This happens on social day. This happens on XYZ day. It's simple. It makes it easy. Remember again, it's a journey. It's not an event. So when you don't do it, we all are accountable to each other. We run through. Is this done? Is this done? Is this done? Did you do that? Who is at fault? It even makes you, nobody's thinking of you as a wicked person. You get the point. So systems and structures are very important. I like to talk about it a lot because this is one thing that has helped. I've not gotten to the point it won't be. Of course, there will always be a place called there. It's one that has helped me build a seamless structure. Like, things don't just run. I don't have to be involved. I don't have to come on. No, everyone knows. I say it. I hammer on it. I emphasize on it. I'm saying emphasis on it. I mean, that should be done. Learn to build systems. I need you to go back after now, look at your home, look at your life, and ask yourself, what systems and structures will work for me? I'm single. I have a business. What systems and structures do I need for my life? Am I building do I have a social life, or am I just building and no social life? And then you now realize that you find it difficult to socialize, you come out to the public, you're dealing with low self-esteem, no confidence, a whole lot, right? Systems. Now, let me teach you one other thing that's currently on this webinar. I've already scheduled every post that will go. I've already envisioned how the webinar is going to go. So sometime around 4:30, there is a content that goes out to say, hey, have you joined? We're having it hot in there. Go system. Come on, guys. You see system, it makes you, it gives you the luxury of time that we don't have. That's it. It gives you, now imagine if I had to pause for like 30 minutes to go resolve a conflict. That's my time. But system has saved me. Do you know, it took us more than 30 minutes teaching conflict resolution yesterday. It took me more than 30 minutes teaching conflict resolution yesterday. But I have spent that 30 minutes. I prefer to spend it and then build on it. I spend it once and I don't have to spend it again. So the next time we're having a conflict, we know what the method she is. What's the methodology? What are we supposed to do? Have structure. So have structures. Don't let things come into your home and determine the systems. Remember, keep this in mind. Let the system and structure determines what happens. There's a structure in my home that there is a particular environment and atmosphere that should be maintained. There are certain songs you don't play in my home. It's a structure. You are nobody to break it. You dare not. Nobody. Even oh Lord, you can't. Like nobody can. I don't care who you are. If you come in and you cannot align with the structure, it's fine. It means that we are not a right fit. This place is not fit for us. So just gently move. You can't come into my home and you're playing some kind of nonsense songs. It doesn't work. I don't care. Someone might say, hey, you're not giving your children social life. Oh, is that what you call social? No morals, no values. And tomorrow you're wondering where they're getting what they're getting. Like how? Structure. What happens? Let people know where you stand. Of course, your structure should be built from your value system. Do you even have a value system? As a person, do you have a value system? As a family, do you have a value system? We do. I have a personal value system. My personal value system, my spouse's personal value system was where our family value system was built from. So this is me. I value this. I can't do this. I like this. I can't go below. Morality is key. I don't care whether there is decadence in the society, whether the society. See, don't tell me. I know someone is going to be saying, but leave this in. There are some other people that they have spent their time doing this. See, one thing I hold dear to is the word of God. It says, train up a child in the way he should go. There's a way that is fit for the child to go. But what we have in a generation is training children in the way that the society say they should go. So tomorrow you wonder. So I'm going to do my part, right? I'm going to do my part. And of course, I am going to see the results from doing my part. Before you begin to say, leave that thing, is not working after this, go and do it first. You're giving it to chance. You don't want to do. You're saying, why not even try what will give you the right result, and let it be that you did not get, but let it be that you tried. At least at your old age, you're going to pat yourself at the back and say, yes, I tried. I outdid myself. I did my best. But you're not trying. In fact, some parents will go to party with their children. Oh Lord. See, this thing is not about Christianity. It's about value. It's not even about, it's about what value do you have? You're going to see a mom go and be dancing, rocking a guy. The children are there watching. Are you kidding me? What you're selling sexuality. So by the time someone is molesting them in the house, you've already set the pace that this is normal. It's something that should be done. So they're not to think, they don't see any reason coming to tell mommy. There's no, one of the mistakes that people make is like they like to teach, they like to talk, they don't do. I keep telling people the easiest way to raise kids is by influence. Don't stress it. Don't sweat it. Show it. You know when they say show working, show it. So you're teaching them how not. In fact, by the time I was teaching conflict resolution yesterday, I had made mention and I had made reference. Oh my goodness, I had made reference to my kids and I was like, remember, have you seen I and Daddy have to show working? Don't come and be teaching it. Show it. You need to show. So we will run, right? I'm going to be helping a lot of moms who would want a one-on-one guide. I'm going to be helping them to create their family systems if that is something that they are going to want. Okay. So quickly, let's run. We don't have so much time. Find fitting support system. Don't be too proud to ask for help. Learn to ask for help. I need help. Can you help me? I need help. Don't be too big to ask for help. No. Find the right support system. Your spouse, the people around you. Remember that I intentionally put the word fitting. It's not every support system that is fit for your life, that is fit for your home. So find the fitting support system. Okay. The next, learn to train, delegate, and trust. Have a design program for this tailored to suit your needs. So learn to train. Don't delegate without training. Train first. Training is a process. It's a journey again. It's not an event. So learn to train. After training, you can now delegate. Don't just bring someone into your home and say, do this, Nkechi, do this, Adama, do this. You've not trained. Or some people even bring, they don't even say what to do. But shouldn't you know? How will they know? Have they lived with you? Did they know what's on your mind? How are they supposed to know? And you want balance. How are you going to have balance? You don't have balance now because you come back, they've not done anything. Right? And always I replace, so I do replacement. Don't come and stress the hell out of my life. No. If I see you're not, I'm very good at, I will reduce your responsibility. I will keep reducing your workload. Don't give me headache. I'll leave the one you can do. If you don't want to grow capacity, it's all right. I'll leave you at your pace until you decide to grow. If I see that we're not fitting, remember, fitting support system. I'll go and find a support system that is fit for me because I'm on a journey. I cannot because I want to. No, I'm on a personal journey. So if you're not fit, I keep talking. 2 months I'm talking. You don't want. It's all right. There is no issue. You just see me jelly. I will start to withdraw the responsibilities. Before you know, I might even take out the responsibility. Before you know, you become irrelevant. Before you know, you by yourself, you'll be feeling bad. And I might even say, okay, it's fine. At this point, I don't think we can work together anymore. Find a fitting support system. Train. Don't just call them and say, you should know what to do. You're going to be helping with the house. Helping to do what? What exactly? Spell it out. Right? Remember, the structures and the system should guide and should produce the program designs and the training designs. So delegate, after training, delegate and trust. They won't get it the way you did it. It's fine. Over time, they'll begin to catch up, right? So do that and then trust that they can handle that. So have a design program that suits your needs. Very important. Okay. So be a good manager. Time, resources, both human and material resources. Learn to manage the things you have. It will help you attain balance. You can't be talking about balance. You go over budget, spending more than you can. Come on, you're not serious. You're not ready for balance, right? So that is also something that you must do. And the next, be diligent and committed. Be diligent and committed. Very important. A lot of times we're not diligent, but we want the result. We're not committed. Remember, it is a journey, not an event. In conclusion, balance is a journey and not an event. Drum roll. So this is where we come to the end of today's webinar. I'm sure it's been very impactful. Oh, we planned 1 hour, but we're way beyond 1 hour at this point. So I'm sure it's been very impactful. We're going to still leave the replay for people to catch up with the replay. And we are going to be having our inner circle. It's going to be a 2 weeks intensive coaching where I will hold women by the hand. It's limited to just 20 persons. It's not for everybody. It's not. It's just 20% because it's going to be an intensive session. So I'm going to be sending all of the details. You're going to see the details right in the comment section of this video. You're going to see it on our social media handles. You're going to see it in our communities. You're going to see it everywhere. If you think it's something that you need, it's not everybody. In fact, it's not even everybody that applies that we will let it. That coaching is going to be a 2 weeks intensive coaching, and it's going to be at 25,000 naira, just 20 persons. Nothing less, and nothing more. Okay, so we're going to be screening the people that we would want to be part of that. All right, guys. So I don't know what happened, but hey. So thank God we are wrapping up, right? So let me be sure you can hear me. So I can see your comments. I can see them coming in. Okay. See, use principles to create a system that works for you. Awesome, awesome. Balance is a journey, not an event. Great. God bless you, Ma, and bless you too. I got value. I'm happy that you did. So we're going to be having a 2 weeks intensive coaching. It's going to be a group coaching of not more than 20 people, right? Not more than. It's not going to be more. It's going to be 20 only. I can't take more because I want results. I want results for these women. The goal is to help them, build something so strong and formidable that they can be able to, push out to the world, be recognized on global stage, head for the top, while still being awesome wives, awesome moms, and all of those. So we're going to be touching a lot of things. We're going to be touching on the subject of submission. We're going to be talking on the subject of sex. It's going see you should know that when I say a thing is value, I don't go less. I don't. I know it's going to be time demanding, it's going to be time consuming, but it's something that I am willing to do. So if you are here and you want to be in the get it right or go home inner circle, it's actually a 2 weeks intensive coaching, right? And it is at just 25,000 naira. If you're in Nigeria, if you're not in Nigeria, you're going to see the link to make payment from any part of the world, any currency, anywhere you are from. So this is for only 20 serious women. Just 20. Just 20. If you come into the room and it's more, I won't even take more. I will even take more because I know the work, right? I know the work that it requires. I know the work that I am going to put in. So I won't even dare, like, I wouldn't dare to take more. I don't want to keep myself because I would be handling that coaching myself. And we are also going to be having one or two associate coaches, top coaches in the industry come on board. Yes, we're going to be having one or two of them come on board. So it's going to be an intensive one. And if you want to be part of that, send me a DM. I'm going to send the link for registration right in the YouTube video where you can make inquiries. You're going to have the link to contact us personally. You're going to see the details everywhere. We're going to put it out everywhere. Massive publicity to help 20 women. Now, the goal is that as the year is about to end, that by the time is 2024, you are ready. You have learned how to be more productive. You have learned how to manage yourself. You have learned how to manage your time. A lot of times, do you know why this thing is more important for women than men? The society has a way of holding women accountable. And a lot of times they say, children of, oh, sorry, excuse me. So a lot of times they say children of teachers, children of pastors, children of those people that into personal development, they don't turn out well. Why? Because these people are trying to burn out themselves, trying to train others. See, if you're teaching others and you're not designing programs, as I'm designing programs for women, I'm designing programs for my kids. Currently, I'm designing a back to school program that I'm going to be helping moms with, right? I'm going to be helping moms with that. Yes, they need it. I'm designing a back to school program that we're going to run through from this weekend up until the first week of resumption, the second week of resumption, and intermittently in the course of the term. I'm designing a back to school program. So as I'm designing programs for women, I am also designing for my children because I want them to be able to turn out well. So it's going to be a 2 week intense. There's a lot of bonuses, right? You're going to have the back to school guide for free. You're going to have a lot of bonuses, a lot of guides, a lot of worksheets that is going to help you on this journey. It's going to be a 2 weeks intensive coaching, and it is just at 25,000 for only 20 people. So if you want to be, of course, the slots will fill. Trust me, the slots will fill. So if you want to be amongst the first 20, go ahead, take advantage of that. Send me a message after now, and we are going to go ahead to take it up from there. So thank you so much, everyone that joined in today's webinar. Remember, we're still going to be here again next Friday. Woo! And guess what? Oh my God, I'm excited about next Friday's topic. Hey, women and crushes. Do you realize women can crush? Do you know when we talk about cheating, it's not just men? Yeah. Yes. Oh God, don't miss next Friday. Like, just don't. And you know why? This thing is not a respecter of person. So we're going to be talking about women and crushes. Maybe I'll check the schedule. I'm not sure if sex is among the topics for this coming Friday, but it's going to be awesome. If you've not invited your friend, head out straight now, like right now. After now, go and invite them. And say, come. You just have to be a part of this webinar. So all through the Fridays in September, we are going to be here. We're going to be here learning. We're going to be here building ourselves so we can be able to get it right so we don't go home, right? So thank you so much for joining, for watching today's webinar. If you're watching replay, hey, replay gang, hashtag replay in the comment section. So thank you. Until I see you next time, my name remains Jennifer Chinenwa Emma-Obadi, and hey, just take good care of yourself. And remember to go back and implement all that you've learned. Very important. It's not enough to learn. Get pen and paper. Start to write. Begin to write. Begin to work on what you've learned. Begin to put them into practice. Balance is possible. Balance is very, very possible for women. You can be able to have a great home, a great career, a great business, be at the top, be out there, and be successful at all fronts. The goal is holistic development, not leaving any stone unturned. And you can only do this by paying attention to every area of your life. So you structure your life. What happens at this time? What is the time I should be giving to my husband? In fact, there are a whole lot of things that we could not touch. We will touch them in the inner circle. If we start, we can't go now. We just wouldn't go. We are almost heading for 1 hour, 30 minutes now. So if we start, we can't go. How do you, a lot of times I get complaints from men. They're like, oh, because my wife is successful, she doesn't have time for me. She doesn't create time for me. She's always tired. She's always too busy. How do you do that? You don't leave your home at the mercy of people. No, you don't treat your spouse in a certain manner because, no, I don't teach that. I do not teach that. So it's going to be also, we're still going to be breaking down balance further in the inner circle. Balance.
practical. And the beautiful thing about it is that you would get to ask questions, right? You get to ask questions, and it's a small circle, just 20 people, just 20 people, and you get to ask questions that pertains to you, questions that bothers you, and we will be able to answer all of those questions. I would be able to answer them. We're going to have live calls. We're going to have the day for live calls. So let's talk, right? And I will be giving you professional counsel. Just to get me to consult with me for 1 hour is more than the price you're going to be paying for the coaching. So trust me, jump on this, jump on this. If there is one thing I know, like, I don't need anybody to tell me, doesn't matter what anybody says. If there is one thing I know that I have, is they know they read them for school. Let me speak it in pidgin. I have had a lot of people come to me, teach me. I want to coach women. I want to get into women development. Yes, we're going to have women development academy, right? Where we create courses and run through for women coaches who would want to go about coaching women. But for now, we are not ready for that. But if there is one thing that I know that I have, come on, I've got this to help women live their best. It comes to me easily. When I share something, people are like, how do you think about this? I'm like, it just comes. How do you, this kind of thought has not crossed my mind before. It's called uncommon wisdom. I am wired for this. I am designed for this. It's going to be an intensive coaching. We're going to be looking at balance deeply, like deep. You'll be having the guide working with you to structure all of that. So, hey, I'm so glad that you joined in. So thank you very much for joining today's webinar. And remember, 20 people, and once you are 20, the door is shut. That coaching is actually going to start off sometime in October. So we can also have our Ember Brides enroll, register, and get ready. So, hey, I'm going to see you when I see you. Do take good care of you, and bye.